Okay, so here we are 10 days out from the Rise of Skywalker, and Daisy Ridley has unfortunately stepped into the SJW's trap. She was in an interview where she said she was being interviewed by a reporter called Nasheen Iqbal. I hope I got that right. Apologize if I didn't. But, she's faced backlash on, of course, Twitter, where all the SJWs congregate in clusters. And she sort of said comments to the effect, Ridley was asked in her background, including private boarding school and relatives who are established in the industry, has helped her to navigate the world of celebrity easier than her peers. The star replied, "The privilege I have, how? No, genuinely how?" So she's questioning what gives her this sort of privilege. When reporter Nasheen Iqbal explained she meant in terms of class and wealth and wasn't criticising her, Ridley went on to suggest that her experiences weren't too dissimilar to those of her co-star John Boyeger. And of course, Boyeger, who plays Finn in the franchise, was raised in South London by British-Nigerian immigrant parents and applied for a hardship fund to join the theatre. And of course, you can apply for hardship funds through local film governing bodies to join theatres, to get all sorts of accreditations and, stuff like that through local film governing bodies. I myself have applied for a few because I'm on the disability, and, it just amazes me that this so-called white privilege has been used against Daisy Ridley. Like, sure, she went to a private boarding school that was, theatre and arts was the main focus. But I'm sure there were other people there. I'm sure it wasn't a whites-only school, and they all had this white privilege to go to this school. I'm sure there was other people of other races and genders and backgrounds and stuff like that, It just amazes me that they keep calling out this sort of narrative to fit into this gotcha moment where they'll pull everyone out and sort of say, hey, don't you think you're using your white privilege? I mean, at some point, John Boyeger would have had to go to an acting school, acting lessons to get his roles on Attack the Block, and of course, in The Force Awakens, The Last Jedi, and The Rise of Skywalker to get this role of Finn. Now, they've both got to the same point. They're both making millions and millions of dollars off these three movies. So I can see where Daisy Ridley is coming from. What is the different privilege? In the preconceptual art you see for the actors, you see that they're, they were looking for a white girl to play Rey. You can see that they were looking for an African-American dude to play Finn, or an African UK immigrant to play Finn. It just amazes me that the fact that they've got off one sentence, they're trying to ruin someone who they all about before, and Raylo and stuff like that. I mean, for instance, I went to the same school as Heath Ledger. I was there for 3 years. We couldn't afford it anymore. And, does that mean I should have been playing the Joker? No. Heath Ledger was always in the drama, worked hard, was the drama captain, worked all his way up through local productions here in Australia, all the way up to being the Joker in The Dark Knight. Now, does that mean I could have been the Joker? Maybe, but that wasn't what my goal was, and I wasn't prepared to work as hard as Heath Ledger did to get to that point. I wasn't prepared to put in the long hours after school in the drama club and everything like that. So this white privilege, I think, is a real cop-out call from these SJWs. Now, if you go onto your local film governing site, you can see that they actually look to put LGBTQ, disabled people, minorities, and women in film. They'll always look to do that over the last probably 5 or 6 years. It's become a real thing in this industry. So I myself have just recently applied for a disability thing. Now, am I going to get knocked back? Should I get knocked back because I'm white? I identify as a person of the world, even though I live in Australia. My relatives are from all parts of the globe. So I'm a bit of a mongrel. I'm a bit of a bits and pieces. So, there's this sort of narrative that they have where they just attack everyone for being who they are, no matter what race, gender, and it tantamounts to segregation. And the last time there was this sort of segregation, it was the group of people, these SJWs, all love to call everyone else. They all love to call them a bunch of Nazis. But in fact, when you segregate people by race, gender, religion, you sort of are being the Nazi yourself. Now, this white privilege thing is bullshit because I come from, my family was well-to-do. Now they're not. And I'm on the bare bones of my ass in a government flat. The only reason I can do this sort of stuff is because I use free programs like OBS. Anyone can do this. I use free programs like OBS. I use Afterpay and stuff like that. It gets, taken out of my paycheck. I have enough to pay rent. I have enough to pay food. So I don't believe in this white privilege sentiment. I believe in working hard, and if you work hard, you'll get what you deserve, and they both deserve these roles. And who are these SJWs to say otherwise? But if you haven't already, follow Data Racer 187 on the interweb, on the Twitter, and he's put together some of the comments that are coming out and attacking Daisy Ridley. And it's just amazing to see the sort of vitriol that these people have for this, bitter. It's just bitterness. I don't know if these are, part-time actors working as waitresses or waiters in Los Angeles or something like that along those lines. But that's what it feels like. And, just this first one, don't ask. I mean, who don't ask me for, who even has that as their Twitter handle? I mean, to be honest, whoever has Viral Gorilla as their Twitter handle, but that's a marketing thing smooshed together. That's where that comes from. So Daisy Ridley is a typical white woman not wanting to admit their privilege because it shines a light on their complicity in the overall white supremacist system. Gross. White supremacist system. I mean, there's no white supremacist system. I can guarantee you that living in Victoria or Australia, where they let anyone in and they're having big troubles with all sorts of people, from all walks of life, white, black, whatever. You're either a person or you're an asshole, and you have to, pay your dues, And this is where this weird notion of someone just saying this throwaway line of, we both, all she was basically saying was, we got to the same point. How is there any privilege? White woman, hi Daisy, do no one any favors by ignoring our white privilege. We still face other challenges, but we have a platform because we're white. It's sort of this thing where it goes back to Brie Larson and her soapbox standing. And it's just if that's the case, she only has that platform because she's a white woman, it's just like, bruv, talk about how Daisy was tone deaf about white privilege, but seriously, what else can I expect from a white woman? See, again, just seeing race and gender. They're not seeing the actor or the hard work that's been put behind that actor to get to this position. I'm sure there were other people of race and genders, and why weren't they all Ray? Because Disney was specifically looking for a white woman to play Ray. They were specifically looking for a African American or African UK person to play Finn. It just goes on and on and on. Oh God, why did I read this article? What is wrong with white people? This is actually painful to read. How obvious people are, how oblivious people are to their own privilege. Why can't people just recognize their privilege? Like, we all have it in some way, shape, or form. Well, there we go. We all have it in some way, shape, or form, but the rest of your comment is absolute just crap. Why did I read this article? Why did you read this article? What's wrong with white people? What's wrong with you? Obviously, you're not white, and you have predisposition blame to a race of people. I mean, I'm half Chinese, half white. I don't, go around hating on other people, hating on other races. Like, do me wrong. Like, most of the people I hate are people that have done me wrong, in the past, be it during productions or be it during, just business interactions. These are the people that I don't like, and it's because I've spent enough time with them to find out that they're douchebags, There's just heaps of this, Glad she got cancelled for denying white privilege exists. Daisy Ridley does not understand white privilege and doesn't think she has privilege. Well, I'm pretty sure she understands that going to not everyone gets the chance. So she used that chance. Not everyone gets the chance to go to one of these acting schools or boarding schools. So she used that to get a foothold in the industry. Is that white privilege? No, that's using your connections. What are you told when you go to one of these events? You're told to network. You're told to network, and you're told to get yourself out there. Now, if you can't network and get yourself out there, and all of a sudden networking is white privilege, then we're all in a lot of trouble, because that means no one can get anyone on their own merits. You'll be home expecting a call from the couch because of your race, your gender, or who you're going to bed with at night. I mean, this is just ridiculous. Anyway, you can see I'm riled up about this because I deal with it every day in the film industry. I mean, I met an intimacy consultant the other day. It's just like a stunt coordinator for intimacy, but that's another thing. Anyway, give me a comment. Tell me if I'm right or wrong. Tell me what you think. Subscribe, and there'll be more content coming out in the near future. Take it easy, and we'll talk soon.